All right. Good evening, everyone. See, we're gonna get started here. I am working off a mobile device, so a little limited as to what I can see, but I will pay attention to the chat, of course, and respond as quickly as I can. So, only social media, Zoom tonight. So let's go ahead and get started. We are on the recording. So, good evening, everyone. Jose J. Garcia, real estate investor, coach, and mentor. We got coaching series this Sunday, 8 p.m. as usual. I am outside as well, so there might be a little bit of sound, but bear with me. So we'll get through on the coaching call. So, I'm actually down in South Florida today. And, any new market that we take on or same market but different area, it's almost like the same, it's almost like a small little reality check. It's like, back in certain areas where I'm located, where I'm at, I don't want to say I don't have to try because, obviously, to get any deal, any good deal, any off market deal, you have to do your due diligence, your work, and everything you do. But it helps out when you have that credibility, when people know who you are. Many times I get oh, it's actually you coming to see my home. They're expecting a rep of mine, an assistant, whatever. You know, um, so it's always good. It makes things easier in a way. You have the credibility built behind you. But when you get into new markets, new areas, or even again like Florida, we already covered the whole state of Florida. We've got many RTOs down here. We got rentals, we've done flips, wholesale, moved them, you name it. And obviously we're trying to expand even more, so we're doing it more so. But the areas where I'm at, I am planning. So this trip here alone, it was more so kind of oversee the area, the market, trying to pay attention to, and I'm quite shocked actually. The numbers are not as high as what I thought. Not to say that I want them to be higher, but I was a little surprised about some of the numbers. So definitely very doable, very, they're in my ballpark, if you will. No deal is the same, no investment is the same, but like I was mentioning on some other coaching calls, if you're prepared to pay five, maybe 10,000 tops, and somebody's selling a mobile home for 20, 30, be realistic. Be real. It's not going to happen. Okay. The one thing about any seller, especially direct seller, is they're already on a defense mode. When you offer anything less than what they're asking, you're trying to take advantage. You're trying to take over. You see what I'm saying? So you're coming from that standpoint. But always, backing up your offer as to why, and I call it going into coaching mode because you do. We'll get more onto on that call. But what I'm getting at is, I plan on making another trip down here where we're really going to sit with park owners, park managers, and I see all the opportunities. That's one thing when we're taking a role, through the mobile home park. I'm looking. There's so many things that, yeah, they need of me. Bottom line, and that's how you need to think of it. Okay, it is a two-way street. Too many investors, I think, they have this mentality of, I don't want to bother them. I don't want to aggravate them. If you're seeing it from that standpoint, you're seeing it a lot of it is about me. Me. And if that's how you're seeing it, then you're probably going to come off that way. The way I see it is if I can provide opportunities for them, ways that they can make more money, maybe raise lot rent, take it easy on that one, right? But, that's not me asking anything of them. I'm offering for them to be able to maximize their profits, for them to be able to do more things that they're already not. Example, we drove to one mobile home park where I counted almost 15 mobile home pads vacant. Now, the lot rent in this park is $500 a pad. You do the math, okay? When we present that to the park owners, hey, so here's what we do, here's our name, et cetera, et cetera. You build your credibility. I noticed you had 15 empty pads. 15 empty pads. If I'm correct, the lot rent is $500 a month. That times that equals what? That's how much you're losing at the end of the month. You add that at the end of the month times 12, meaning times 12 months. That's how much you're losing a year. Not to mention, if you're paying taxes, there's other expenses, utilities, whatever it may be on every pad. That's in addition of losing, you're also paying on top. Nobody in business gets in business to lose money. It doesn't matter what you do, whether it's a product or a service, and that's the only two things you can offer, one or the other or both. You don't get in those kind of businesses to lose money. And a lot of times that is my reality check to them. This is what you're not doing. This is what you're missing out on. And this is what you deserve. Big difference, right? I'm not asking for anything. I'm offering them. When I hang up the phone or I leave a park office after meeting with a park manager or park owner, it is typically the same reaction. How can we get you to work with us? So you see, that's how you want to set it up each and every time. And I'm telling you all this, the coaching call for tonight is being chosen as the buyer. But it goes hand in hand with being down here, being new, in this area. Nobody knows me down here. I'm okay with that. Okay, I'm okay with that. Okay, but we'll plan on changing that for sure. But to start out with, I am going to very much use every skill, of course, the same thing that we coach each and every one of you. Okay, how to speak to sellers. That's going to be huge plus. How to speak to sellers, because there's three types of sellers when it comes to mobile home investing. Park owner, park manager, and direct seller. A direct seller does not necessarily have to be somebody who lives in it. Most times than not, it is. But it could be a wholesaler. It could be a flipper. Okay. It could be another investor. It could be many things. Okay. The direct seller is always the hardest. The park manager is always the scariest, and the park owner is always the easiest. You kind of have to take them as what it is, right? You never try to overstep over each one, especially a park manager. Go into a park management office and, hey, who's the owner of the park? That's a no-no. You're off to a wrong start, okay? So coming down here, I'm going to have to make a lot of offers, but I'm going to have to explain them, okay? And we're going to go through some of these topics here as to how I'll do and what I plan on doing, okay? Homework, number one. It's going to be a lot of homework. Winging it, showing up, just trying to pretend, not going to happen. That's not what you want to do. You know, for every relationship that you make, okay, everybody that you meet, it is an immediate relationship of some sort. Not everybody wants to sell immediately. Does not mean they won't forever want to sell. I've known people for months, for years before they actually, hey, I'm ready to sell. You came to mind. There's a reason behind it. I stayed relevant. I stayed around. Okay. It was a consistency. And that's part of the branding, marketing, and advertisement. I'm always around. People tell me that I'll always see you on Facebook. In my mind, I'm thinking that's not good enough. I want them to say, I see you everywhere, over and over. Yes. Okay. You can never over advertise. I'll put it that way. You can never over advertise, meaning that you have to do it over and over. And again, coming down here in this area because I have not done enough, it is like I'm going to have to start from scratch. I like it. I'm okay with that. So we're really going to see what we're going to be able to put up in this market. And hey, all it takes is one good connection. Okay. One good connection, one good rehab, one good exit strategy, you name it, because it only gets easier from there. Okay. You have credibility. If you have one park owner that allows you to come into their park, okay, first they were very in a no zone for you, but suddenly, for whatever reason, and I'm going to give you a reason as to why they will, they allow you to come in, you prove yourself, because that's what you got to do. Get your foot in the door, prove yourself. Do you think they may give you a second one after that? Second opportunity. Do you think this park owner or park manager may know another park owner or park manager? Now suddenly you have a reference. You see, you're starting to build it, and you build it, and that's what we do back home in Georgia. There's areas where they know me by name, and it's a beautiful thing. But again, it can be done. A lot of people ask me, can you do this virtually? Yes, you can. You can very much do virtually. Building a relationship is one of those things that takes time. Okay. It is not you come in and suddenly you got 30 mobile homes available to you. If a park, because I do coach park owners, now keep that in mind. If it's a park owner who is so eager to have somebody rehab their mobile homes because obviously they get the idea of I'm losing money, and they're willing to offer that amount of mobile homes, 30, 10, 15, whatever, to a first investor that comes in, that's not very smart business from their end. And I teach them, do not do that. Okay. As with any business, put yourself in their shoes, put yourself in your shoes and see how it should operate from a business standpoint, right? Everybody has to prove themselves. And even so, it is a control thing at one point. You don't want one investor who owns every mobile home in a park. That's not a good thing. If you own a park and one investor owns all your mobile homes, you may say, well, that's awesome. I own the land. I don't have to deal with the landlord, with the tenants, etc. Yes and no. But if there is a glitch somewhere, if there's an issue between you and this investor, where do you stand at that point? It is still your land, yes, but it could be a lot of issues that come with it. So, a lot of these things. And I'm definitely going to start doing a lot more of these coaching videos, maybe not so much live on Zoom, but I'm going to be posting them because I want you to kind of keep up with my journey, if you will. We got a lot of things coming up from coaching events, direct one-on-one coaching. I'm doing a lot more on that as well. The Shadow event, which is a live day event on June 25th, 2-day. People can't attend today. They can attend it one day, but it's all the same thing. It's all the same thing over and over. Okay. So it's one of those things we're trying to just really push more and more. And this sort of thing is, America has a serious shortage of housing. Okay. People repeatedly ask me, are mobile homes proof of an investment they can keep going? Is this something I can invest for long term? Let me repeat that. America has a serious shortage of housing when it comes to affordability, because don't forget, that's what mobile homes are. It is even more, and it is growing. It is not going anywhere. So to answer that question for the billionth time, yes, it's a phenomenal. I have been investing in mobile homes for 7 years, and I plan on investing for these things for a lot more time to come. But I'm always also changing and adding extra strategies. Okay. It is okay to do the same thing over and over, but if at minimum, you should be multiplying. You should not be doing the same thing. Okay. I hope there's no realtors in this call. And if it is, this is not an insult. I've had realtors who tell me very proudly, I think in a way, I think there's almost an aggravation to ask, how long have you been a realtor? Almost like an attitude reaction. I've been a realtor for 40 years. Respectfully, I say, that's not something to be so strong about. 40 years later, you should be investing. You should be doing a lot more other things than just the same thing. And that's what we're trying to do with mobile home investing. If you are a wholesaler, awesome. Welcome. We love to have you. I work with a lot of wholesalers. But after a few months, after a year, you should also be doing rentals, rehab, flips, moving them, getting into landlord mobile homes. You see what I'm saying? A lot of this stuff here is, you got to keep growing. You got to keep multiplying and growing. If you have a day job, for instance, okay, and I quit mine a couple years ago, beautiful, best thing I ever did. The time allocated that I was putting to my job, respectfully again, it was a waste. It was a waste because it was actually costing me more money at the time. I was more than ready to quit the job. I had the security, I had everything, but I had that one last fear of leaving, the what if, the unknown. And it kept me there longer and longer until one of my mentors said, you know, Jay, it gets to a certain point where having a job is costing you more money. If there was a deal that you had a chance to get into, but you had to go to work and you weren't able to go to, if there was a connection, a park owner, park manager, whoever it may be, and there was a certain time that they wanted to meet you and suddenly you couldn't because, again, your job wouldn't allow it, you're losing now. You're going backwards. The whole purpose principle of having security is that you're creating more and more wealth for yourself. If you start taking away, now you're trading the opposite way. If that makes sense, and it really caught my attention because right about that time we had so much going on. COVID was happening. We were furloughed, and there was a connection that I would have been able to make, but I specifically didn't even try because I knew that I no longer had vacation available. Okay, I'm very much talking about salary job at this point. So therefore, I didn't even request to take off. And I realized, that would have been a phenomenal chance to meet this individual, to potentially partner up, grow my business, get involved in this certain area. None of that happened. And here's the thing about it, okay? Opportunities do not come beating on your door, and success is not chase or find you. You do that yourself the other way around. Okay, that same opportunity never came again. Why? Because at the moment it was more of a, well, I can't really attend. It was sorry excuses what I was given, and they saw right through it. So by the time later on, let's try to connect. We don't really have the time at this point. That's a missed opportunity that I will forever remember as maybe coulda, shoulda, would have been something. It did not. I kept my job, and that cost me that. That was time to let it go. Some of you want to quit your day job. It can be done. Yes, I invest solely in mobile homes. Now, I do every exit strategy at this point. That's not how I started. Okay. But the easiest way to that, and I know I'm kind of going all over the place here, is if you want to replace your income, it's reverse engineering. I know that may be simple, more simple, said than done, but it can be done. Think about it. If you invest in one mobile home for $5,000, let's say you're all in for 8,000. This same mobile home you can flip it, okay, for 20,000, 22,000, or maybe you want generating passive income, right? So instead of that, why don't you convert it into a rental? Yes, you're a landlord, plus is negative, but remember, a rental is forever and ever as long as you have it generating income. That's a beautiful thing and never ends. Okay, rent to owns and other exit strategies, great, but they have an end date. So keep that in mind. So if I do one of this mobile homes for 8,000, I charge a deposit per month rent 1,500. Okay, so that gets me 1,500 to pocket. I start charging $700-800 a month minus lot rent. Let's say 300. So let's say you pocket $500 a month. That's your first investment that you're making $500 every month. Then you get your second one and your third one and your fourth one. Now you're at 2,000 a month. Is this starting to get to the point where it's starting to replace your income? Now notice you're doing all this while you have a day job. Is it possible that once you get enough up to replace your income, you can eliminate the 40, 50-hour salary, the job, whatever you have, and invest that time into investing that you were doing part-time? And clearly, you know what you're doing at this point. Yes, you can. And that's how you eliminate it. You keep going. You keep multiplying. I wholesale many mobile homes. Over this weekend alone, while I'm down here visiting, I wholesaled over 4 mobile homes just from what I already had set up. Okay. I love wholesaling, but that's only one of many exit strategies. Along with that, I have what I call my safe income, passive income, and that comes from my rentals. Next week on the 1st, here comes one of my little paychecks. On the 1st, typically 1st, late after the 5th, as I'm struggling, some will show up on the 5th, the 6th, that sort of thing. That's okay. Okay, but they start coming in, and at the end of the month, that's what I want. I like to keep on average 100 rent to owns. That could be a mixture of rentals and rent to own. So you create the passive on that. In between on that, I'm not sitting twirling my thumbs. I'm doing other additions. We have Airbnbs happening. We have flips happening. We're having mobile homes being transported. We're looking into land packages. We have one in South Carolina. It has taken longer to close than we expected, but we're thinking about next week we'll have that. So that's an additional on that. So you see, you're always busy, always creating. You start by creating the first passive income and get the next one, and then start also doing other wholesale or other things that take no money. Okay, things like wholesaling takes no money out of pocket, and in reality, the way I like to do it is my wholesales pay for my flips. If there's a flip happening, it obviously needs to be rehab, moving ready, the whole setup, whatever it needs. Okay, there's a thing about pulling money out of my bank account. It just doesn't feel good. There's a cringe behind it. So I want to make sure that, okay, I'm going to have to wholesale 3 or 4 more mobile homes this week because we got 4 or 5 thousand locked up in this area, and we put it towards. It is a continuation of investment, passive income, passive income. That's what you want. Okay. The call for tonight is how do you choose? How are you choose to be a buyer? When you're getting started, a lot of these investors that I see, again, it is all about me. Everything they're thinking about is they're thinking about money or how can I succeed. So little do we often pay attention to what other people need. For instance, the seller. There's 2 different types of sellers, a distress or an upgrade. Some sellers don't need the money in a sense, not the way that it is. It has to sell today. Example, a family. Okay. A family started obviously with one baby, mom, dad, and a baby. They have a single wide 2 bedroom, 2 bath. A couple years later, 3 years later, now they have 4 kids. 2 bedroom, 2 bath is not going to work for 4 kids and 2 parents. Okay. So they have the funds, they have the means, but now it's time to either get a 3-2 single wide or go ahead and bump up to a double wide, maybe a 4 bedroom, 3 bath. Okay. Family be a little more comfortable, whatever they need, and that's what they can afford. They are not distressed. Okay. So we would treat them very differently as to, okay. Very careful as to how we approach them. Make sure that we always, anything we offer, it is coachable. I'll get into that in a second. However, you may have an older couple, husband and wife, who are not doing very well. Their mobile home is in very distressed shape, meaning it's got a lot of damages to it alone. They are not very financially set. They owe a lot of rent. They're on the verge of being evicted because they haven't made the payment to that. They owe taxes. They're in a situation where they need to sell today. But you will be very surprised as to how many people need to sell, barely make ends meet, simply because they don't have the means to even be able to transport their furniture, their belongings from one place to the next. It is quite shocking and quite sad in a way. Here is where you can step in. Okay. How do you stand out from your competition? We'll call it that. Okay. If there is more and more buyers, and there is, okay, the thing about mobile home investing, it is no longer a shy niche. It is growing steadily and continuing to do so. What that means for a seller is opportunities. See, now it's the other way around. A seller now has options. What if you don't buy it, Jay? I got Mr. Ben, Mr. John, Mr. Julio, Mr. Whoever it may be, right? And in reality, a seller only wants to sell it to anybody who will pay an extra dollar more. That's the way it is. But again, if you're the buyer now, you're the investor, you say, all right, well, Mr. Johnson, we'll call him. You're willing to sell this mobile home, we'll offer you $2,000, but we cannot give you the money until you move out. That is a smart move on the investor, on the buyer. But at the same token, now again, you're putting the predicament on the seller as I don't have a place to go. I can't afford a U-Haul. I can't move my furniture. I can't sell at this time. I'm going to just keep it. You come in, however, and you say, okay, I'm willing to give you upfront. Now we're going to put everything on paper, Mr. Johnson. Okay. I understand you need the money, you need to move, you're behind, etc. We'll figure all the above, but I need to get you out of the mobile home so that we can finalize the transaction. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you $500 up front. $500 up front should be able to cover a U-Haul, should be able to get you somewhere to get started. Would that help you out? You just stood out from your competition right there for 2 reasons, maybe more. You're willing to get money up front, which means that will very much help them. And I've done this many times, by the way. Okay. 2, you're showing care. You're not just there for you, for the money, for what am I going to be able to flip this for? Because a lot of people think that, okay, I'm going to be able to get so much money out of this. Good. I just need to get rid of them. You need to be in this business for more than yourself. I'm pushing more and more investors into this niche because there's so much need in affordability housing. I don't teach people how to become the next king or queen real estate investor. I'm teaching you to know how to give back. Okay. When you give back and you're for the seller, you're also going to make the money. It works out each and every time. Okay. Let me see. I got quite a thing that's lighting up here. Do I have any questions so far? And again, I'm working off a device, so y'all bear with me here. Okay, I'll go over those in a few minutes here. Let me give you a couple more tips. And don't forget, these calls here, we have a long, extensive, it is members only, GMHU members only, every Wednesday at 7 p.m. It is anywhere from 60 to 90-minute long coaching call. It is what we're doing right now while we have this series continuing. We're piggying back pre this Sunday, which means we kind of get into this topic. We try to cover as much as we can, but guys, it's 30 minutes. It's only so quick I can talk and so much I can cover on here. And it feels like a rush. I like to slow down, really talk to each and every person on this call and answer every question. And that's what we do on Wednesday calls. So on Wednesday coming up, we're going to go over this, how to be chosen as a buyer each and every time. Okay. We'll also get into making offers and explaining your offer. You cannot just counter an offer. And I see, oh my goodness, I see investors doing this and immediately going from what was a conversation to now an argument, which makes no sense. Never argue with the seller or a buyer, okay? But if a seller tells you they want 10,000 and in your brain, which nobody can see but yourself, you know that the house is only worth 2,500 at best. Imagine a conversation from a third person standing, okay? Give me 10,000 for the mobile home, you can have it today. Buyer response, I'll give you 2,500. That's as good as the end of the conversation. That's what people don't understand. You cannot do that. Let me get into that real quick. I've got to feed it to y'all, okay? Mr. Seller, I understand that you're asking 10,000, and I probably would so as well. Here's the problem with that, okay? And always ask, why are you asking that? Why are you selling? Those are two questions you need to keep in mind. Why are you asking the amount you're asking? Where did you come up with that number? Okay? And why are you selling? Help you, help them, if you will, okay? 9 out of 10 times, it's always because across the street, behind them, beside them, somewhere, somebody sold a mobile home that they sold for 20, 25,000. The difference, however, on something like that is the one that they're talking about was fully rehab, moving ready, beautifully done, probably by an investor. Now, I do my homework as I mentioned. So when we get into the negotiation, I know what they're going to use. I know that they're going to compare to the one at the front of the park because they know that they sold. Remember, these are community parks. Everybody speaks to everybody. Everybody knows everybody's business. So as soon as they go to that, I'm going to go to that as well. Oh, yes, I did. I saw that home, and before I could even make an offer, they had sold it. That was a beautiful home. So here's the thing, Mr. Johnson, and I'm going to say this respectfully. Your home, okay, needs flooring. The roofing needs to be resealed. Your central heating air doesn't work. You only have one window unit. You're pointing things out. You're explaining your offer. Now, I am confident that if you take the time to do the rehab, do everything that they did as well, you probably get more money out of your home than they would. But you got to be willing to do the work, put the money up front, put everything it needed to, so that you can get a rehab to the same level that they did. If you do that, I'm sure you probably get the same money. Selling it to me in the condition that it is, however, I'm taking all the risk. I have to come in here, take over the lot rent, pay everything that is due, put the labor, material, and again, you're listing. All you're doing is bringing them back to what I call earth. Okay? Anybody can ask anything. And again, thing about that is a lot of times it's also a follow-up is key. You cannot expect that an offer is going to go in immediately. It has to be really, I'd almost want to say if your offer is accepted immediately, you offer too much. An offer should never be accepted on the first try, but always have some urgency. Okay, here's another tip for you all. Whenever you do put an actual offer in writing, especially, give them 24 hours. Here's what's going to happen, and here's what happens over and over. Okay, when you give somebody, a seller, an offer, okay, what do you think they're going to go off and do? Let me think about it. Let me talk to my wife. Let me talk to my husband. Let me see what we can do. What they're really telling you is, okay, let me go shop the market and see if somebody's willing to pay me more than you are. And if they are, I'm going to call you and tell you, hey, we sold it. That's what it works. It's the way it is. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them 24 hours. Look, that's fine if you need to think about it. If you need to talk about it with your spouse, it is what it is. That's fine. I'm buying a mobile home in this area. No matter what, like I mentioned, I'm an investor. So call me within 24 hours and let me know. If I don't hear from you, I'm probably going to go ahead and buy somewhere else. Most things don't work in a hurry. I've noticed that over a period of time. And when it comes to sellers, they typically call me right away. Hey, how much was it that you're offering at this point? That means, hey, I was not able to find another buyer, so I'm willing to sell to you for what it is at this point. That's how it works. I will get a lot more in depth on this on Wednesday. I know we're running out of time at 8:30. Let me see. I'm going to answer a few questions if I can. Let me get on the chat box. All right. Good news, everyone. Good deal. Good deal. It's getting a little dark out here as well. So Jeff, good evening. Terry, good evening. What are the nearby airports I'm flying to for the event? There is Atlanta. Atlanta's great, but there is a Macon, Georgia small airport that you can also check out, and that would put you only about 25 minutes from. What is the link to the Wednesday call? Let me see. Yes, so Jeff, visit GarciaMHU.com. We are in the process of making a direct link and direct website link for that as well. But check out the events and see the Wednesday coaching for that. If that's your first time, by the way, it is no charge, so just send us an email. All right, let's see. Awesome, awesome. All right, let me talk about real quick the shadow event that I'm mentioning, okay? The shadow event is June 25th, June 26th. It is a 2-day event. If you cannot attend both days, please attend the first day. The first day is where we're going to cover every topic to mobile home investing, along with LLCs, corporations, okay, cash flow, exit strategies with money, creative financing. We have speakers that are going to come into the class as well. We have a business partner of ours, Mr. Ray Gomez, who's going to be talking about branding, marketing, and advertisement. He is the #1 seller for Cutco Knife. Look it up, Cutco Knife, and he is phenomenal. Think he may know a thing or two about branding, marketing, and advertising? Absolutely. He will be there attending and talking about all the above. I will cover every topic you see me cover, how to get your first, second, or additional deal. Some of you, I know you all are veterans. You constantly tell me, well, I don't need to know about how to get a deal. Okay. So typically my response to that was, that's fine. What about finding handyman, contractors? What about finding buyers? Not so strong of a suit. Well, there you go. We're going to cover that as well. So we always need something. You're always learning, always educating yourself. Okay. So definitely join us on that. I don't know if the link is posted yet, but GMHU admin, if you can, jgarciamhlive.com. That is a direct link to the site on that. Check us out on that. Send us an email if you have any additional questions. Seats are filling up fast at this time, so don't wait too long. Any additional questions before we go? Let's see. And again, yes, the Wednesday call, don't miss that out. You know, the day before the Wednesday call, we have the Let's Do Deals. That's where we pitch mobile home deals, off-market deals. Okay. You don't want to miss that. That's 7 p.m. and can also be found on GarciaMHU.com under events. Check that out. Join us on there for free. And then comes the Wednesday. All right. It's a little darker out here. I know I don't fade it out some. So thank you all for joining this call, and we hope to see you Tuesday evening. Have a good night.